Well, I think from the beginning we were talking about animators that we love and now they're 9 old men, you know. So there was a lot of inspiration coming from that, you know, drawing from those people that started the studio.
Well, we are standing on, you know, the shoulders of giants, and remember the Walt memo?
Yep.
That we found, and it was the memo that Walt wrote for the training of the animators a couple years before Snow White had come out. It was so inspirational to see like how Walt had fixated on certain things like the performance, the acting, the psychology of the characters to help improve the poses, the gesturing, to focus in on what would later become the golden poses.
It's cool to see the crew come on board too. Like there's a lot of like animal stuff, like the squirrel posing for, you know, Sword in the Stone, and like the way the birds moved in like Snow White and that kind of thing. And it's really cool to see them study the classics and try and imbue that into their work.
It was the same with Sabino, was very inspired by the lawyer in Aristocats. So I watched that segment like over and over and over again. And we looked at his hands, especially. He has the most amazing hands. Like, it's just incredible work.
Yeah, I mean, that is so cool. I mean, okay, a lot of times we do
Here
research.
Comes the geek. I can tell when he starts slapping his knee.
No, I mean, a lot of times we do research as an homage to Disney animation, but to then also make our own choices that's specific to this film and the story. That's the one thing that I love, is that we are given the time to do quality work when it comes to the performances and really strive to make it sincere. And that really is kind of Disney character animation, like from the very beginning.
What I love about this movie is
our protagonist we've created. I love Asha.
she has this warmth, she has this empathy.
She also has her flaws, so she's believable and a real character.
One thing I love about Asha's story is that she even has to say, everything I've believed my whole life was wrong. It takes a really brave person to admit that they've been wrong and to tell everybody in the world, hey, things aren't what you think they are.
There are so many wondrous, powerful wishes that will never be granted, just floating there, helpless.
She has to balance protecting her friends and being a good family member versus speaking the truth. And I think we can all relate to that.
Isn't truth supposed to set you free? Well, why do I feel so weighed down by it?
What was interesting, I remember back to Let It Go, how we had written the film, but Let It Go changed the film. What was really nice on this film was we had this wish before we'd even written the script.
Right.
So it kept being like a true north for us with the writing for Asha.
Well, I think this wish just speaks to her character. She wants nothing more than her family to have everything they could want, but then it became more about the whole kingdom.
I find it a unique I Want song that is so generous. Usually when a character sings about what they want, it's personal.
She didn't seem like the kind of character that would want things for herself after she finds out what this king has been doing. And I wanted to write that song from a young person's perspective, you know, wanting more for their community.
Well, that's what's so beautiful about it. It's the essence of a selfless wish, and like what a beautiful place to start the story from.
So I look up at the stars to guide me and throw caution to every warning sign. I'm sure there will be challenges that find me, but I can take them on one at a time.
Our very lovely Ariana DeBose did such a beautiful job.
I remember her coming in to sing this wish, and I feel like her as a person really embodies Asha as well. She's so beautiful and has such a big heart.
So I make this wish to have something more for us than this.
When we start on a feature film, one of the first designs that we'll start to work on is our lead character. So in Wish, that would be Asha. I think the directors told us she was about 17.
Asha is of mixed heritage, you know. Her mom is from North Africa, her father was from southern Spain, and so Asha has freckles, which was something that I had seen in some of the photo research. I thought it was cool that she was tall, you know, and Asha's like 5'8", 5'9".
For the design of Asha, the first thing that inspired us really is the time period, the medieval 1250s, and then we want to bring in something from the contemporary culture because that is something that Walt has always done. This is something that I'm always very geeking out about. Snow White, medieval time period, but her silhouette is from the 20s. Same thing with Cinderella. 18th century French, but it's the Dior new look. And for Asha, because her costume is the medieval silhouette and a combination of European and North African with the detailing, the hairstyle is a place where we thought we can add the contemporary culture.
I remember thinking early on with Bill Schwab's design of Asha, he had this whole sheet of expressions and I animated those expressions, and those expressions are still what we use now for Asha. And then I have a teenage daughter, and so just observing, you know, the way she stands and the way she does all these weight shifts when she's talking. She uses her hands a lot and she's always shifting back and forth, so I tried to put that in there.
When you met with Ariana, did you learn anything about the character in talking with her?
Got the shoulders that go back.
The thing I noticed right away, and I'm sure you guys did too, is just the amount of energy she exudes and the amount of expression she has.
Yeah, like she could do anything with it. Oh my God, I'm so great.
And she had all these ideas.
It's like, I think she should move like this. I think she should move like this.
I think she moves from the hips like this. And she'd get up and she'd like show us exactly, we're like, bones. But when I think of her, I think of energy.
Come on, please. Ah!
We would be trying to crack certain parts of the story, and then all of a sudden something would cut through, and then we'd realize, think about what that means. So it was these weird discoveries where, and even the fairy godmother aspect of it, it just kept feeling like these fun, delicious things were already part of the DNA of this story independently.
Yeah, and I remember we would pitch the idea of Asha becoming a fairy godmother at the end, and people would go, what?
Yeah.
I love that.
So we thought, what can we do to channel some of the aesthetics of the fairy godmother from Cinderella?
Yeah.
So one was, and I think that was your idea, Griselda, really was the incorporation of pumpkin seeds as a decorative element around her placket.
And also her anklet, too.
And her anklet.
Her color palette, we are also leveraging the fairy godmother from Cinderella. Her cloak, that is really was the color from the fairy godmother. And the color purple, when we showed it to our cultural consultant, it just happened to be the color of hope in North African culture. So that works out for us.
Thank you. Everyone ready?
Hello. But, knock on wood. Testing. 1, 2, what?
Let's do this. Welcome to Rosen.
I have a deep voice. What is that? I can't help it. Mirrors love my face.
Those wishes don't belong to you. They don't belong to him, do they? Right. They don't belong to him, do they? Can't you just give them back?
Can you give me the line? Sorry. I don't know what that means. Cookies? Cookies?
Oh. I'm talking to a goat.
I love a good-looking cookie. Cookies! Cookies! Okay!
I'm gonna try this thing called acting. I heard it works. I'm gonna try it. Your Majesty.
That light last night felt amazing. Oh, am I squeaking?
I tend to do that whenever I get excited.
Over here. I'm just Dario.
Tell him I love him. 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 I'm kidding. Do not tell him that.
My best work. You're so adorable and squishy.
Oh, give me the cookie, the cookie, the cookie. Cookie, the cookie, the cookie. I'm dancing like a 50-year-old.
Hi. I'm just gotta pee.
Oh, I want a cookie. My cookie, mine.
All right, someone give that guy a cookie.
Peter here wants to build a flying machine. Was I clapping my hands? Didn't even notice. You know I talk with my hands. I'm like this.
I really hate goats.
Oh, my voice is really high when I cry.
I really hate goats.
Gee, don't tell me I'm finished. Don't say it.
This is over?
These are so good. Oh my God. All right, I don't know. We need a writer.
One of these days you're going to put together a gag reel and people are going to be like, oh no.
That was just too much for me.
We are the directors of Wish, and we just wanted to talk about the deleted scene you're about to see. It is a song called A Wish Worth Making.
In this moment in the film, we want to portray what it's like for someone to have their wish returned to them. So when Julia first heard about this beautiful moment, she was so inspired to write a song for it. We used to have Saba dancing around to an upbeat song, and Julia brought this concept of a bit of a nostalgic feeling, the bittersweet moment of finally reunited with your wish.
The song that you'll be seeing is actually sung by Victor Garber, who plays Asha's grandfather, Sabino. And Victor gave us a gorgeous performance. You feel all the emotion that someone who had wished all his life for something finally gets it back. It was one of the hardest things for us to cut. What happens a lot of times is that the movie tells you what it needs. And so you really have to listen. Luckily, again, we found a way to have it in the movie somehow, and that's right at the very end when the credits start to roll.
And we have this clip to show you what a beautiful moment this is.
So enjoy A Wish Worth Making.
Where's my lute? Where's my lute? I must hold it. Thank you, my sweet star.
Take it from this antique when your hopes are in despair. If your desires have strings, free them, give them some air. 'Cause any wish that's got your heart on the edge of breaking is a wish worth making. Yes, everybody dreams to be something someday, somewhere. Even kings and queens daydream to be free from their royal chairs. Well, any dream that's got your heart, even when you're not sleeping, is a dream worth dreaming.
We struggled so much to figure out what is a wish, like what are people's greatest wishes.
And what is the one true wish, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't want it to be like, I wish for ice cream,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, that was part of the reason why we sort of came up with this idea of you couldn't have your one true wish until you turned 18.
Oh, I remember all them wish logic meetings.
Who remembers the wish equation?
What is
that?
Do we even know what the wish equation is?
Well, the wish equation is when we're talking about what makes a wish, and then we're talking about all of these ethereal things of wanting something and the hope of it.
It was really this concept of there's no greater power in the universe than a person with a true wish in their heart.
I wished for more for us, for my family. I just want their wishes to have a chance.
But what is also key is that you recognize the responsibility you have to that wish in order to pursue it.
You mean we take them back ourselves?
To me, it's not something that you wish upon the star and then your wish come true right away.
And a lot of time we talk about you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, say it out loud.
I love that you put that into the film.
Last night, I made a wish on a star, and the star answered.
When I first heard that, I was like, that's true. True to say it, because you don't know who will be there to support you. And that's such a beautiful concept.
And then you have to take action, which is one of the things that I remember you were pushing for, Jem, for the very beginning, because we were talking about wishing and just the feeling and the wonder and the hope, but then you have to translate it into someone that goes on the journey and makes it work for themselves.
Yeah, you have to fight for it.
I'm here to get their wishes, so I can give them back to them.
And I think that's a big lesson too, because when you're young, you can dream, but when you hit the first obstacle, you can stop.
Let's go, now!
And the fear can take over.
I love you both very much.
What are you doing?
I have to stop him.
It's too dangerous.
I started this. I have to finish it. For everyone.
And in this film, I think it's a celebration of it's okay that it's hard. And with the bigger the wish, the harder the journey.
What I love about the story we're telling is that if you were to take that first step closer to your dream, even if you may or may not achieve that goal, your life get more fulfilled.
And your wish can evolve. It can change, but it can't do that unless you experience things. And so trust that your aim can get you to where you're supposed to be. And if you don't give up, you will find it.
My wish. It's beautiful. There you are. Oh, my beautiful wish.
My one desire with this film is that people that may have put their wish on hold, that they would look at this film and be inspired to pursue that wish again.
Saba Sabino is the reflection of that in the film. He's 100. And it's never too late.
From the very beginning, from the very first meetings, we talked about it being a fairy tale.
I just remember thinking, like, I can't believe we're gonna make up a fairy tale. It's our first one that isn't based on a fairy tale. Creating an original fairy tale is really hard.
One of the challenges was sort of coming up with the rules of the magic and figuring out what is Magnifico's power, what can he do, what can't he do, what can Star do and what can Star not do. And I really feel like one of the true north things that we discovered through watching Cinderella, I can remember having a whole bunch of conversations about, like, you know, the fairy godmothers can give you the dress, they can give you the coach, but they're not gonna make the prince fall in love with you. And so Star can support you in pursuing your wish, but Star is not granting wishes.
Does Star grant wishes?
No, but I think it wants to help me pursue mine.
Like a fairy godmother.
And I feel like once we locked into that, the sort of fairy tale aspect of it really snapped into focus for the whole team.
Welcome to Rosas, come on, come this way, where the greatest creations are all on display.
To me, the iconic Disney films are musical because the time I grew up in is the height of the early 90s, right? Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. And I love that you always say music happens when you are so overwhelmed with emotion you cannot talk about it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only way to express it.
Sing
it. Yeah, sing it.
I mean, music is so evocative, and I think you can express emotion to a greater extent in song than perhaps you can in dialogue. So for me, it's always heightened emotion.
And we were so lucky. Julia Michaels came onto the show.
I was contacted by Mr. Tom McDougall at Disney. He knew that I was a big Disney fan and basically was like, we're working on a new movie. Would you be interested? And I was like, duh.
You said no, right? Like,
Definitely said no. I was like, yeah. And then I wrote a song for the film. Isn't truth supposed to set you free? Well, why do I feel so weighed down by it? If I could show them everything I've seen, open their eyes to all the lies, then would they change their minds like I did?
Julia wrote a demo that we were just blown away with.
Yeah, the song sold me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this is gonna be cool.
Made you tear up a little bit?
So I look up at the stars to guide me and throw caution to every warning sign. If knowing what it could be is what drives me, then let me be the first to stand in line. So I make this wish.
The demo she delivered is this wish. Of course, it evolved, but what's really cool about that song is that it also informed the storytelling. So having that song early on helped you all continue to find the movie.
It was a slam dunk, and we got to like tell her FaceTiming, right?
Zoom at the time.
Oh, she was in tears.
I cried every day after. And then this lovely man I have known for a very long time. We've made lots of music together.
Yes, we have.
And so I was like, I'm not doing this by myself. It's way too much pressure. And I was like, hey, Benjamin, you like pressure.
Go for it.
Want to make a Disney movie with me?
I think that's what we kept reminding each other.
Yeah.
We took turns.
I think every 30 minutes we were like, we're writing a Disney movie.
Right, because you're
Like,
right.
what?
What an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that we're going about it in an unconventional way with the pop songwriters to work on a musical.
Though she's young, Julie's been a professional songwriter for over a decade in collaborations with incredible singers like, Justin Bieber and Dua Lipa
Selena
and Selena Gomez.
She was also a background vocalist for the Demi Lovato version of Let It Go.
Yes.
So she has a connection through Disney, and look at her now.
It's quite the decade.
Julia, being the youngest songwriter we've ever had to do a whole feature, brings the passion for the legacy, but then, of course, the contemporary sound too.
And then this man walks into the picture. Dave Metzger, everybody.
Well, I know we were very, very excited when we found out that
We were.
Dave Metzger was going to be working with us on these songs.
Yes.
It's a huge legacy, and to be a part of it is just incredible for me. I've done a couple of Disney movies. My first one would have been Tarzan.
Best.
Guessing.
One of the best.
I arranged and orchestrated every single note in the film, and then I arranged and orchestrated all the songs in Frozen.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. But I've not ever been the score composer. So having this opportunity has been just incredible for me. To be with you, you've opened my mind up into new sounds and approaches to things that I had not thought of before or been exposed to. So it's been a wonderful experience for me.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
We're in a masterclass every time we get to work with Dave.
And being in the room and watching you watch all the musicians, it's just so awesome and inspiring to watch because then it gets us excited.
It still is, honestly, it's the best part of the whole thing for me is being in there with that orchestra and hearing them bring what we've done to life. It never gets old.
We are at the one and only Disney Animation Research Library, also called the ARL.
We are the repository of just about all the animation art that the Walt Disney Company has created for its shorts and features from the 1920s to current day. No other facility in the world has been designed and built like this to care for what is essentially our 65 million pieces of physical art in the collection.
Coming here to the Animation Research Library really let us look at some of those ideas from the past, 100 years to see how the artists approach things.
We actually got to be there and actually look at the paper and wear the white gloves and look at all of the individual drawings.
We were literally looking at the paintings and going, how did they use the line work on that cloud? What was the brush stroke like? Because we're going a step beyond what we've done in the past and really celebrating these magical things we find here at the ARL.
We've been able to draw from our 61 feature films and numerous shorts over the years to be able to give those nods to Disney history in every shot in the film.
If these were actually the real artwork, we wouldn't be having our paw prints all over these. But the Animation Research Library was kind enough to print these out for us so that we could handle them. To have this be a celebration of 100 years, we didn't create an art style just for its own sake. We dipped back into Disney legacy to come up with this concept so that it's purposeful.
I do remember, Mike, when you said that you wanted to have it feel like it was paying homage to the past, but not to have the film feel like it was stuck in the past. You know, what would Walt be doing if he had this kind of technology?
To go backwards in order to go forwards.
Well, Snow White and Pinocchio came to mind straight away.
Yeah. In those films, they used watercolor, and it had a very romantic fairy tale feel. That 19th century illustrative fairy tale look would have been very familiar to Walt Disney as a boy. So he was dipping back into a certain kind of nostalgia from his childhood, which is why this look was so important to him. So I mentioned to our directors, you know, would it be viable to create an art look that channels this hand-drawn look?
When Mike came to me and told me how he wanted to go back to these turn-of-the-century golden age of illustrators, I was in hook, line, and sinker. The real challenge was, how are we going to do this in CG? And that was the part that was a little scary.
Did you ever think that they would chicken out? Like, oh, this is great, but we can't do a whole movie?
But we have such really bright, talented people. I just had a feeling it was going to get done.
When you watch these older Disney films, if you pause the film, you're going to look at a beautiful illustration. Everything's composed, the silhouettes are really beautiful. And so how do you get that look on every frame in a three-dimensional film?
Just the nature of CG is that it lends itself to more detail. And there was a lot of intentional effort put on this film to pull away when you had to and put in when you had to. So the right balance of that was not an easy one to find.
We treated shots in a very illustrative way. I promise you, we looked at every single frame to make sure that the composition was holding up.
We wanted each frame to look like an art piece. I think that's what we set out to do, so each frame was actually an art piece.
And it took every department to hold hands and agree to do that.
So Lisa was really at the forefront of analyzing this great legacy watercolor look. I call you our creative analyst. You know how to creatively pull things apart to analyze why does something work the way it does.
There were two things that were super, super important to the look of what we did on this project. In these old illustrations, there's this little white edging that happens when you pull a piece of paint next to another piece of paint, and it's the negative space in between. And then lighting was able to do a thing called munging and edge pooling, which is where you get a shadow and there's this little dark edge where the pigment has kind of migrated to the edge and then dried. Those are those sweet little things that make it feel really like illustration. That
it helps
makes a huge difference.
The feeling of everything being handcrafted, though. Even if it's being done in CG, the CG people had to handcraft when to munge and when not to.
Did munging exist before this movie?
Not in terms of in connection with paint.
Oh.
Or
when to munge and when not to munge.
Wait, yeah.
We had lots of discussions about depth of field. And depth of field being, you know, when you focus on something really close, everything else goes out of focus. Which is a very kind of more live action type feel. But we had this illustrative look, so we wanted everything to be in focus like you would with illustration.
It's hard to give up depth of field, and we use it so much in our films, but the question was, what do we use it for? And it's to bring our characters off the background so you can really focus on them. So then, what would an illustrator do to achieve that?
You want the background to look beautiful, but also just complement the foreground.
Obviously, our tools allow us to have incredible detail everywhere, but in so many of the shots, we are throwing away so much of that detail in the background as an illustrator would, because it's not what you're supposed to look at.
You know, a great example of that is the crowds on this movie.
Yeah. The art team had a vision on how they wanted the crowds to fit as a part of that sort of a vision of illustration, so that there is a foreground level of detail, a midground, and then a background.
You know, if you look at some of the very background crowds, the head will just be a little, you know, paint stroke, a little watercolor. Yet it's a full crowd that's been, animated.
Yeah. The frame suddenly looks like the older films that had the hand-drawn feel to it. So that was a very intentional effort.
So if you see a crowd character without a face
Yes.
in this movie,
It's intentional. It was intentional.
It looks beautiful.
In a traditional CG film that all audiences are familiar with today, there is no line work on character. But in a traditional hand-drawn Walt Disney film, characters were defined by line work around facial features in certain postures of the costume, and then that was just filled in with solid color. So, in discovering aspects of line, how thick is the line? How thin is it? Is there too much line on the face? All these things we had to figure out kind of step by step.
the line weight was important to the age of the character, the emotion of the character.
What looked good on the 100-year-old grandfather Sabino may not look good on Asha. So there was a lot of work put into building the character so that when the line work was applied, it all works together.
Oh, that's it? Now you're done talking?
There were more than a few times where we would hit a point of problem solving where we were like, well, what did they do on Pinocchio?
So like the Pinocchio test was a classic example. We took most elaborate backgrounds that I know of from Pinocchio, and we said, how would we do that in our world? And it's finding that balance of it's 3D, but it has that 2D feel.
That long tracking shot was so cool to see. This is something made in 2023 that like feels like it's of today, but it calls back to those earlier movies.
If you look at this pan background from Pinocchio, we literally took half of it, and then we did a render of Asha and had her walk through, literally walk through this Pinocchio painting to see how she would fit in.
Yep, I remember that pass. That was incredible.
And that was our moment of truth, right? Oh my gosh, she is a watercolor animated character walking through a Pinocchio background. That's when we knew we were on our way.
When we started to talk about classic fairy tales, a lot of them have that Middle Ages feel. And I know that we're looking for something that felt that it had that classic fairy tale flavor and look, while also feeling different.
You know, a lot of fairy tales are set in the European world. And I know, David, when we had discussed earlier, wouldn't it be great to have maybe a little more of a warmer climate than we're used to in the fairy tales?
So a city that's somewhere down the Mediterranean. And we started looking at all these beautiful places in southern Spain.
And when we found this Mediterranean area near the Iberian Peninsula, it felt really right and strong.
We don't say it's exactly that area, but we're inspired by everything. It was the same with Frozen. You know, we don't say it's Norway, it's Arendelle. But it's inspired by Norway. That helps you get a specificity to it.
We do a lot of research, and they brought in this amazing medieval historian who would talk about what people would be wearing, what they'd be eating.
It was a trades crossroads,
Yes,
right?
that's
Of
right.
southern Spain.
So a lot of cultures lived and coexisted in this area during the Middle Ages. So that's what the story needed.
Yeah, there's a story reason for it being a destination where people can travel here from all around the world.
People from all over the world would come here because there's the promise of their wish coming true.
I'll give my wish.
All of the fairy tales that we're referencing have these iconic castles.
And it's a challenge to come up with a new one.
Well, yeah, right? And
how do you make this one different?
We looked at the beautiful architectural legacies that have been left in that part of the world.
One of the things I loved is the decorative quality that is in all of the architecture, but it's what makes it so beautiful.
Like David, if you grab that piece over there, which is actually your painting of Rosas, you can see how these vertical aspects were definitely inspired by Sleeping Beauty. David's employing the verticality that you would find here in Sleeping Beauty, the compositional verticality that creates just that illustrative feel.
Disney's allowed me to be a dreamer my entire life.
The first Disney movie I watched was Dumbo.
I can remember being in the first grade and they said, we're gonna watch Bambi. And I remember just being totally swept away into the story.
From an early age, Disney would take me to different worlds.
Each one was this whole new adventure.
A wish is something your brain tells you it's impossible, but your heart says, go for it.
When I was a kid, my wish was to work at Disney Animation.
Disney has reminded me, even through the hard times, you can find the light.
So knowing that this movie is meant to celebrate the 100 years of Disney, how did that idea begin?
When I signed my contract, it was for 5 years, and I went, we're gonna turn 100 that year, and I mentioned it to Bob Iger, and he went, well, you'll have to do something very special. And Chris and I, we were working on Frozen 2 together, and I brought it up to Chris.
It was her fault.
That was funny to you. That was funny to you.
Jen had announced, you know, we're gonna do some sort of celebration for our 100th year.
I didn't even know if it was gonna be like Fantasia or if it was gonna be like this compilation of all of this stuff.
I just remember thinking, well, I'm glad I'm not on it because that's a lot of pressure. For the 100 years of Disney to make up a fairy tale, I thought, thank goodness I'm not gonna be working on it.
Right. I just closed my eyes and I was like, this is indeed a wish coming true. To be working on a movie that pays homage to 100 years of Disney's magic, Disney legacy.
I hadn't planned on staying around that long, and I was really excited. I was like, okay, they're not making this movie without me. I gotta be involved.
I was crazy enough to say yes.
Chris likes pressure.
I guess so.
Within a few days, he had pictures from every film in our legacy.
I put all the images up, one from each feature. Then you could really see what the studio has done over the 100 years, which is incredible.
I saw those boards as I walked down the hall. There was a lot of excitement and rumbling of people here of celebrating 100th anniversary.
What struck me about that timeline was when you put it up against what was happening in the world at the time, and you realize that Disney animation has been a constant through it all.
Yeah.
We did spend a lot of time talking about what are the things we get from Disney films. So we talked to the other directors, we talked to other folks in the studio.
I remember they had some sort of like little round table with the directors to ask us what made Disney special and what is Disney magic? How would you define that? And they were really mining for that through line through all of the Disney 100-year history.
There was a question, what do you think makes Disney Disney? And I think one of the things that was talked about in our group was just the specificity of the characters and how unique they wind up being and memorable.
Disney movies always transported me to a different place that you just get sucked into.
Good Disney films always say, the world is full of beautiful things if you just stop and look at them.
Butterfly! No, that's a flower!
None of them are the same, but what they have is the ordinary hero fighting their way through extraordinary circumstances.
Disney movies are really hard on their heroes and heroines.
There's always big stakes. It's like there's always a point in the movie where you're rooting for the hero, but they just can't do it. Like they're facing a powerful sorcerer or an evil witch.
Bring back her heart.
And I love those because Disney characters don't give up. They always keep fighting.
I related to those characters that went through those struggles. Of course, they went through much harder struggles than I did as a kid. But at the end, you always feel like if they could survive that, I can survive whatever I'm going through. Looking at all those images, there were so many images of characters wishing on stars.
A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep.
The idea of like, what's the thing that's at the heart of almost all our stories is that want, that wish, that thing that drives your heart. And I think you said the word wish and it was just like, oh, we're home.
The movie had me at Wish. When they called it Wish, that was exciting.
When they first pitched the movie to me, it was sort of pitched as the origin story of the wishing star, which is really fun.
The theme of wish is so universal, right? And that's kind of what Disney movies has been, the source of inspiration and be able to dream and pursue it.
One of my favorite things early on, something that Chris Buck brought up a lot, is that one wish can change the world. And that's what Walt did.
Walt was a big inspiration. What Disney kind of feels like and is and always is the ordinary hero that changes the world.
Yeah, we really did a lot of research looking back at Walt's life. I mean, he had a wishing tree in his yard
In
on the
Marceline.
farm.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many things that Walt did and inspired us.
We used to climb that tree on the high ridge where it becomes just you and the stars. You know, he'd say, the stars are there to guide us, to inspire us, to remind us to believe in possibility.
We do have something unique, at least we haven't done it for a long time, and that's the classic Disney villain. How fun was that for you guys to develop?
Fun or hard? I was
In
like, now
retrospect,
it's fun.
it's fun.
It was daunting in the beginning.
Absolutely, but
Yeah.
that was our desire.
Oh, yeah.
We wanted a villain that the audience knew was a villain from very early on. So you could love to hate this character.
I decide what everyone deserves.
From that very first meeting, Chris was like, we are gonna have a villain. Like, he is a true Disney villain.
yeah.
We're not gonna redeem him. And so how do we introduce a villain, right? How evil can we make him and get away with it?
I remember right off the bat, like, he was evil from the get-go. I remember I boarded a sequence where he's chasing them down and he's being so vile to Saba Sabino.
Didn't he smash his guitar?
Yes!
Yes,
That
he
was awful.
So he took everybody prisoners, and then he ate all of their wishes
in
and so
front
they,
of them.
in front of them. And we
in
all
the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
whoa, it's a lot.
Can you guys talk about why that changed and why it is the way it is now?
Yeah, it was a long process.
It was a
and
long
he was so one note when he was just villain from the start. He
Yes.
was just,
So true.
oh, he's the villain.
Yeah, it felt like we were gonna have to do too much explanation
Yeah.
of why and how anybody could or would stand up to him,
Yeah.
right?
And why people would give up their wishes to him, because you wouldn't give your wish to somebody who's clearly evil.
Right.
Yeah.
We had talked in many directions about Magnifico, and one of the things we also understood is the audience wanted to know why he was the way he was. They wanted to understand him.
And that's the difference from the other Disney villains, is that they come on the scene fully evolved as a villain. We watch Magnifico become a villain.
It's his origin story.
It is, yeah.
It is my responsibility to only grant the wishes I am sure are good for Rosas.
I remember when Julia Michaels turned in her demo for This Is the Thanks I Get. There is a strong aspect of comedy and playfulness in this character that we wanted, but somehow hasn't gotten there yet.
When This Is the Thanks I Get came in, I said, oh, good, we've got a narcissist. I can play with a narcissist, and oh, good, he's funny. So for me, that's where the fun came.
I'd give the clothes off Benito's back. If you really needed that, I'd be the first one to volunteer. Henry, if your home were to crumble, or if you were in trouble.
I think what's really cool about this villain is that he's initially very charming, and how do we make him charming but then figure out the turn where everyone sees what he really becomes?
Like every narcissist. I was like, I've dated a few of those. And so being able to tap into that was actually very fun.
That's a perfect example of where Magnifico lives in these different levels,
Mm.
right? And you set it up so beautifully and intelligently.
You're so brilliant. Oh, that's the least you could say. There's more, admit it. You're cute and strong and bold and brave.
I remember one of my favorite memories was listening to every possible actor that it could have been. And when Chris Pine came up, it's like, that is the character. And it was just solely based on his voice.
Yeah, that charm.
The gravitas.
Yeah.
Because people of Rosa loves him, and we need to believe that.
We knew we needed someone as brilliant and as intelligent as a mighty sorcerer could be. Chris Pine brings great intelligence, and to find all those qualities in one person. And he could sing, so it was like, wait a minute, you know.
This is the thanks I get. This is the thanks I get.
maybe unquestionably the handsomest villain we've ever had in a Disney animated feature.
He's really a fit guy, and he would have been a gym rat, I think.
You're right. I am a handsome king.
One of the first things that Bill told me is that the hair on this guy, it's almost like a whole character. It's his hair, because he's very proud of his hair. And I always wonder, why does he not have a crown? I'm assuming because his hair is so amazing. You don't want to mess with it. You don't want to mess it up. So that's my...
Yeah, he fixes it, right? Anytime a hair's out of place.
Yeah.
A bit of exercise.
The main inspiration for Magnifico's costume is the City Rosa itself, because he really wants people to know that he is the king of roses. Like his cape, actually, the decorative part of the cape is actually inspired by the floor that David had designed in the observatory. And the letter M is like, okay, you know me from the front, you need to know me from the back too. So from all around, you know who I am. The lining of his cape is inspired by the stars in the medieval ceilings. And it's also saying that, hey, I own the universe. And
I'm learning so much.
Huh?
I said, I'm learning so much.
It is so fun to put all these different layers of meaning. So he really is one with the world that he built.
Yeah, so these are astrological symbols as well as elemental symbols. Is that correct?
The alchemy symbols too, because originally he was an alchemist. And he's created this whole world for himself. He's a self-made man, isn't he?
Oh, totally self-made.
He's created this whole image of himself.
Very understated.
Yeah.
One thing that we tried to do at the beginning of the show was just looking at our classic films and finding things that we love about villains. But one thing that was very important to me watching those films that were like Medusa, Cruella, and all those characters, they were very specific. The way they walk was very specific, the way they blink was very specific, and that was something that I wanted from Magnifico. So when Chris Pine came around, for me, I was like, oh, that's the golden rule, we need to watch this guy and capture all of his mannerisms and all the fun stuff that he does in the booth when he's recording.
Asha, obviously I will not be offering you the position as my apprentice. But don't worry, I will still protect your Saba's wish, and your mother's, forever.
We had shivers the first few times. We're like, that's actually Magnifico
We did.
in real life.
Even seeing how they animated Magnifico
Right.
perfectly to his facial expressions,
exactly.
was like, whoa.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Another thing that we try to play with too, which is anytime he is relaxed, I want him to be more active in the way he moves. And when he gets upset or angry, I want it to be very kind of tight and contained.
I believe I have just been threatened.
When you think about animation, you think about somebody angry, you want to kind of be broad and upset. But, with him, I think he works best if he's just kind of contained, so.
Makes him more dangerous the quieter he gets.
Yes.
You don't know what he's going to do.
When you're threatened, you do not breathe. You focus.
Magnifico is kind of into himself. He looks in mirrors. So he's eating it up, when he's presenting to the crowd.
Mirrors, mirrors on the wall, who is the handsomest? Me!
And then we'd realize, oh my goodness, we have been building this sort of narcissistic mirror stuff. What if he ends up in a mirror? So suddenly it made the end so much more fun just because we had introduced the concept early in the film.
This is the thanks I get? Go!
Hang it on the wall in the dungeon.
The one character who took the biggest journey of all was Star. When a character comes from another world, there's so many options of what that character could be that it can become a challenge with all the options.
When I first started working on Star, Star was a human and also a shapeshifter.
Star is literally energy. Whoa, whoa! And so took on human form and animals and trees and any objects you could think of.
Wasn't Star soap?
Soap? Yeah. A dolphin? Yeah, I don't know. Star was a dolphin.
But that felt like the genie or Maui. It felt like something we'd seen before. And there were versions where Star really helped Asha, where Star was very powerful, and we kept making Star less and less powerful so that she'd have to do it on her own, make it tougher for her.
What are you?
I remember there was one big meeting where they knew the human thing wasn't working. Rather than the directors asking us, the art department, to come up with a design of Star, they said to the story department, see what you can come up with. Well, they came up with literally hundreds of different designs.
It was one of the best pitches I've ever seen. It was awesome.
Here we go. Okay, so we have a bunch of random ideas.
So many fun designs. Abstract shapes, there was weird hybrid animal human kind of designs. It was bananas.
It was. That was one of my favorite explorations to watch ever. Yeah.
So I did hundreds of drawings of different animals smashed together, and it took me forever. And then Dan Abraham just came in with a little ball with a little two dot eyes and a smile on it, and they were like, that's it.
In all that brilliance, there was one simple little design of a basic circle with a little star field around it.
Had a little face, didn't have
a
too
little
long.
face.
Yeah.
It captured the essence of the character, you know, which is positivity, it's stardust. There was an openness to it and a real simplicity, and then it became time to realize that into what Star might look like.
Bill did so much finessing of this character. There's many very subtle shapes that create the great appeal. Where do the eyes land on the face? What we call the mask of the character.
The mask's actually a heart shape, which, you know, I always felt there's so much love with this character, and there's a sweetness and kind of a squishiness that I always like.
And the heart-shaped face mask is, I love this, it's an homage to Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse has a heart-shaped face mask, and I've always thought of Star a little bit like Walt Disney, in a way. You know, Walt was the voice of Mickey.
Take one. Why, Poodle, you've been dreaming again.
So Star is really the muse that just kind of encourages and inspires and pushes Asha to pursue her wish. So how fitting that Star kind of has those earmarks, if you would, of Mickey and ultimately Walt.
There was so much development with Star, and, you know, Star has line work, Star has a leading edge line, emitting energy, all of those things had to be developed and discovered.
I mean, for as simple as it looks on screen, just yellow, floating 5 limbs, like no fingers, it's very complex.
The trail of Star that FX has done is one of the things I love most about Star, because it is a classic nod to everything Disney magic with the, you know, pixie dust.
Looking at the dots of Cinderella and Tinkerbell, we were really amazed by like all of like the pencil work, and there was like a little handcrafted nature to it. So every little dot has a little bit of imperfection because we wanted to add a little bit of that handcrafted texture that we were inspired by from going to the ARL.
Whoa. It's beautiful. And there's nothing that makes me happier than sparkles, so.
I mean, it was for the first time maybe in my career to go into a meeting and have people ask for more sparkles, you know.
How many types of sparkle did we have?
You know, when you work on Star, you do a deep dive of what kind of sparkles and what are the emotions. And depending on what sequence we were working on, we'd be like, okay, Star was being sneaky. We need a sneaky sparkle. Somebody go back and design a sneaky sparkle. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure it out. And then we had a sentimental sparkle, and we sort of, for the first time, talked about effects in an emotionally supportive way to the story.
One of the great things about Star is that Star is very expressive. And so even though Star's nonverbal, you feel that Star and Asha are super connected.
I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking it too.
Yeah, and because animation is such a visual medium, to have Star express thoughts in pantomime fits the medium so well.
I love how you were actually looking at Mickey Mouse, the dot eye version of Mickey.
There were some great resources from the Animation Research Library of like The Brave Little Tailor. And just really watching how that face mask, it's almost like eyebrows, you know, and it comes down and it can cut the pupil. When Star is a little frustrated or angry, it can kind of come down, just kind of seeing all those nuance and how they would use those lines. Mickey was still very simple and Star is very simple, but yet there's a lot of complexity in there.
All the artists were so excited to work on Star because they were putting so much of their own personality into it. Like if a star winks, then you get a little glint right next to the eye.
Have you ever wondered why you look up at the sky for answers?
I love I'm a Star because, you know, it's a song where you think everything's going wrong, you turn it up, and the world's a little better.
Well, what's funny is I'm a Star was made possible by the most practical question someone asked in the story room, which is, what does a star have to do with Asha? Why would it hear Asha? And then it was the simple thing of like, we're all made of stars.
You don't have to look too hard. Here we're all the question marks. If you're trying to figure out just who you are, don't look far.
We basically were like, are we?
So I thought that was just a nice thought.
Yeah, it sounds really sweet.
But in actual fact, everyone is quite literally a star.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
No matter where you come from, we are all made up of stardust.
I love that it's a scientific fact,
yeah, but
also
it's
sound very magical.
It's always magical, it's a beautiful concept.
The wonderful thing about it is that this song is saying, your magic is my magic. I'm a star, you're a star.
Yeah.
They're affirming each other. It's not about how important I am, but like, you are too.
Yeah. And we really did a deep dive into trying to understand what does that really mean. These are science facts. How do you make that a song?
Right. That one probably took us the longest to write because we were like, okay, how do we make this scientific, comical, catchy?
We did like 64 versions.
Like
of it.
Boom! Did we just blow your mind? Well, I've known the entire time.
When it comes to the universe, we're all shareholders.
Get back to your system. See, we were all just little nebulae in a nursery from supernovas. Now we've grown into our history. We're taking wise out of mystery closure. Now we're taking it all the star exposure.
That's a seriously complicated song. There's so much that you have to try to, it's a hard one, and there's so much information, you know, to get out. But man, when you see it with the animation, it's just unbelievable.
You're a star!
Dahlia is Asha's best friend, and it's kind of like the I Love Lucy model. Asha is Lucy, and Dahlia became Ethel.
I'm ready. I am so not ready. You're fine.
Dahlia was always dragged into these situations.
How am I supposed to stall a king?
We did look at a lot of Snow White for the inspiration on all those teens. She's very much like Doc.
Follow me.
What she says kind of goes for the rest of the teens. She's very confident. She also has a mobility device to walk, but it's really not a hindrance to her.
Disability in movies and animation is so underrepresented. I mean, I know living with MS, I've had to look at things differently, and kids at a very young age will see this, and hopefully they accept it more.
One of the things that I've always loved about Dahlia is the crutch is not the point of anything in the movie.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good representation in that it's not the cause of her emotional arc.
Hey, how are you and your poor Saba this morning?
It doesn't define her.
Yeah.
She's just a young woman going about her life, very capable.
And succeeding.
Yeah.
Succeeding.
What did you think and feel when you saw Dahlia animated?
I really can't put into words how I felt because it was just so big. It was so big to see this representation.
You can't have a Disney movie without talking animals, for sure.
No, no. On the farm, while dressed up animals in clothes. The farm animals, I mean, that's where Valentino came from.
Talking about Valentino, okay, I have a rule that I sort of made up that I live by is that animals in Disney films have to be smarter than the people. You know, like Maximus in Tangled, he's smarter than all the people, but he's trapped in a horse body, so he's frustrated. I don't think Valentino's smarter than everybody.
Come on. 1, 2, 9 zilliboo, 20 alphabet.
Wait, what?
I can't count.
I always thought of him as confidently incorrect. And that was like how I would play him. It's like, I love that.
Yes.
But we really wanted Valentino to embody the theme, so we came up with this idea that he's always climbing and falling, but he never gives up. To sort of carry the message that you should always keep trying, and that by failing you learn, and you get better.
And we ride!
And then Alan Tudyk, of course, he pretty much made the character, honestly.
Your wings can't fly, but your voices can!
Before he came along, Valentino kind of had this like baby voice, and then Alan Tudyk went 180.
From one domesticated animal to another. Help us!
Now I'm like, I can't imagine it any other way. And then, of course, he's a baby 3-week-old goat wearing pajamas. So I had the wonderful job of looking up many videos of baby goats wearing clothes. I would just watch that every day. And I'd be like, there's gotta be more. I haven't seen them all.
One of our production designers, Lisa Keen, right? She has a pet goat. In the designing of his pajamas, she was very particular about maybe there should be an opening, a flap, so realistically it will not get messy.
At one point, I had these goats, and little Lacey was this big. I'm not kidding, she was the tiniest little thing I ever saw. So I had to put little jammies on her because she just couldn't keep warm. So Lacey wore little jammies, and then she could run all over. But I started showing off Lacey, and the next thing I know, she got in the movie.
I love looking for ways to kind of hide nods to our legacy, and inspiration can come from anywhere.
Anywhere. And the room, when we're looking at dailies, sometimes the scene is good, but it's not next level. And here we had a very short shot, but it's still, the teens are all stepping up and they're proud. And
answering the call.
Answering the call, right. What do we do with Valentino?
Part of me was thinking, would Dario do something with Valentino, you know? Sort of.
In the third shot?
Yeah, it kind of spins and he gets a little dizzy, but he's happy. Or just something, because we sort of linger on him. You know, but I mean, he's thrilled, even though he's, you know, sort of make a pose.
Rafiki. Oh my gosh, yes please. Yes please.
Well.
Knowing what we know now.
The film is just such a love letter to the history of the studio, and it just feels like it's made by a bunch of Disney nerds, and like I just fit right in with that.
Who would have believed when we were kids that we would be here today working on the film that celebrates 100 years of Disney animation?
I cannot believe.
That's it. It's overwhelming, really. I can't believe I'm here at this place, although my little kid would have been like, oh my gosh.
This movie is very special. I'm sure everyone here feels a certain way just being on this project, and I just want to know what it means to you to be part of this 100-year film.
To be here at this moment is a dream come true. I mean, to work on these fairy tales, to be a part of these projects it's what my dream was. And so to be here in this specific moment, it means a lot to me.
You know, I was 3 years old when I saw Sleeping Beauty dance through that forest, and she looks off in the distance and she sees the castle. I've always interpreted that moment as her wishing to be part of the Magic Kingdom. You know, and I was like, I relate to that. And then just to be here at such a historical moment, it's literally unbelievable. It's really an honor, and I'm gonna cry if I say anything else.
It's just wild to me that a goofy little kid from Daytona Beach could be making something as big and as magical as this. Like, it just blows my mind.
My dad would take me to all the Disney movies, and then now to get to actually participate in celebrating what we grew up on. Now it's like a culmination of all those years.
Having been here for over a quarter of the 100 years, and seen so much change at the studio. The experience of working on this film, the level of collaboration, the attention we've all paid to everything that the studio has done in the past has been very special.
I mean, we talk about this a bunch. The word gratitude is just at the forefront of our minds all the time.
I told someone the other day that I was grateful that this was my first movie experience, because this whole thing really has been so fun and beautiful, and I'm truly so grateful and honored.
The thing that I remember is there's the potential that my grandkids are going to be watching and singing these songs, right? How many people get this opportunity to create a legacy that's really mind-blowing?
Sometimes when I see shots come through at the very end, I get weepy because I'm like, I can't believe this happened.
You can feel every person's thumbprint on the art. When I tear up watching.
Do you get that way too?
Oh my God, every day. I'll get it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear I'm not alone.
Oh yeah, everyone has seen me cry a lot at the studio.
I have to say, this is the most that I've cried because I'm not from the United States. I'm from Indonesia, and I never thought that I would be working in a movie that's giving this love letter to Walt.
I bet every one of us remember walking in the doors the first time and just getting overwhelmed. Wow, we're actually here, where all this incredible artistry happened.
You can dream about it as a kid, and then you still have these moments where you can't process it.
I still feel like a kid walking through these halls and seeing the artwork. Just being a part of that history, I think, is very special.
There's also a magic about being on this property because they made Pinocchio here.
There's something super, I just got goosebumps. There's something super inspiring. There's an energy.
I've actually been here about 30 years now. And to think I've been here for almost a third of that 100 years, well, it makes me feel old. But the thing that has kept me here for 30 years, honestly, is all the great people that work here.
For the last quarter century, I've been here, and I think about not just the movies, but I also think about the people I've crossed paths with and how much I've learned from them and how they have passed on things to me, and I hope to pass things on to other people. And I don't know, it just seems like that landmark moment, and I'm super happy to be here.
I'm working with you guys who have been mentors in my career, and I mean, that's been the best part of this whole journey so far, and just super proud.
The energy of the whole crew in this movie, it's beautiful. Everyone's positive, everyone's excited to work in the movie, and you can feel it.
And I think because we all have been inspired by Disney films, right? And the joy and inspiration and the creative energy it brought to each one of us. We're just so excited to echo that into this film.
The greatest privilege of all, and I'm not going to get emotional, but is in every one of these films we've gotten to grow up together on, I have so many memories of you all. And I think that's something we have to remember to never let go of, because it is a privilege and it's something very special.
But there's really no secret about our approach. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors, doing new things, because we're curious. When we consider a new project, we have confidence in our ability to do it right, and we work hard to do the best possible job.
What would be my greatest wish? You know, to be honest, like working at Disney has been an amazing kind of wish for me. So I realized that about 15 years ago, and I'm very happy.
I think my one true wish is just, you know, to always be surrounded by happy and healthy friends and family.
To fly.
I'm going to draw a little inspiration from Anna and Elsa. It would be a world ruled by love and not fear.
I do recall when I was 6 years old, wishing I was a dog so I didn't have to go to school.
So much ice cream.
That's easy. My greatest wish would have been to work at Disney Animation, so I'm living the dream.
If I didn't already have the most amazing family, I would say I would wish for my amazing family. But I already have the most amazing family, so I think that would be my wish.
I mean, honestly, I wanted to be an animator, and that came true. So that probably was my greatest wish when I was 18 years old. So I got it. No Magnifico required.
My wish would be for my daughters to dream big and have those dreams drive them to make their own wishes come true.
My Disney wish was to work at Disney, and wish granted.
I have so many, but I think if I have to pick one, I wish to be able to draw or paint close to what I see in my mind. Make life so much easier.
When I was a kid, my wish was always to work in animation. I was always drawing, and I loved animation, of course, and I loved Disney animation. And so my wish back then was to work at Disney Animation.
I think I would like to wish for the ability to time travel and be a fly on the wall, certainly for historical events, but also just to see, what Christmas was like for my parents when they were 5 years old, or what my grandparents were like as teenagers. I think it'd be fun to get a glimpse into those lives.
I always wanted to be a great Disney artist, and now I've been a Disney artist for about 30 years. I won't say I'm a great Disney artist, but that's still my wish, still working towards that goal.
My name is Mark Kennedy, and I was the head of story on Wish, and we're about to show you some exclusive deleted scenes. So in this scene, which came early in the film, Magnifico and Amaya are working together to pull down a star from the night sky in order to make Magnifico a more powerful sorcerer. Magnifico and his wife Amaya were both evil in this version, and Amaya even had an evil pet cat named Charo. Magnifico tries to pull down the star, he can't, and he gets frustrated that their magic isn't strong enough. He attempts to eat some of the wishes of roses to console himself. Amaya knows this is a bad idea, and she talks him out of it by telling him about a hidden village she's discovered, which is where Asha is living with her family. She tells Magnifico that if he can find the village and the people hiding there, he can eat their wishes. The scene was changed because we didn't want people to know Magnifico was evil right away. We wanted to have the people of Rosas love Magnifico, and have only Asha be the one to realize he's not as good as he seems. Also, it served the story better to have Amaya be a good person who starts to question Magnifico's evil ways. Additionally, we couldn't really answer the question of why Magnifico wanted a star and what it would do for him. The sequence was boarded by Mia Calderon, and I hope you enjoy the scene.
I feel your pull. My heart rumbles with such hunger. Amaya, darling, did you hear me? I am impatient.
I heard you. I'm coming. And lucky for you, I'm devilishly good with a pair of tweezers.
Is that a brag? It's rather weak, but all right.
50 grains, no more, no less.
Oh, I take that back. You are impressive.
As I shine in your light.
Tonight's the night, my dear Amaya. Glory will be mine. Losum noctis interum. Effugio. Aurelian calum astra planetarium.
Mireille.
No, I had it.
Please.
I felt it.
It's okay. Careful, Mireille. You need those. Calm. Good boy.
No, I can't take this wanting that is never satisfied.
What are you doing? Mireille, darling, sweetheart, baby, Pookie, please do not devour those wishes.
Just 3 small wishes. Who would notice?
The cook who prepares your favorite venison, for one, that's his wish.
There are other cooks.
And your best guard. And please, that one's my mother's.
In that case...
Be serious. How would you like the wishes of an entire hamlet?
You found the traitors?
You may fortify yourself with as many of their wishes as you want. No one will notice. There's a young man who takes his horse every month to collect mushrooms. He goes to the uncharted forest all alone, riding through the night. It is said he always returns with a lighter load.
So wicked. He's taking supplies to the last hidden hamlet.
We'll find them. And everyone knows that traitors deserve to lose their wishes entirely and forever.
From the moment I met you and saw your wish, I knew you were the only woman worthy to be my queen. Let's go catch some traitors.
You did magnificently.
Don't I?
Wow! Again! Oh, such control.
It's all in the arm and the bent knee. How's that?
Dizzying.
This scene takes place deep in the forest in a small village where Asha and her family are hiding out from Magnifico. People in the little town keep their wishes secret and don't say them out loud because if they do, Magnifico will find their village and steal their wishes. Instead, they write their wishes down on colorful ribbons. Sabino has collected these ribbons and tied them to branches of a tree. So Sabino takes Asha to see the wishing tree, and he tries to convince Asha to fight back against Magnifico by showing her everyone's unfulfilled wishes and by reading Asha passages from her own diary that reveal her secret burning desire to live in a better world. You can see in this scene that Sabino is a little bit sick, and in this version of the film, he actually died shortly thereafter. The scene was changed because we took out the idea of a hidden village. We thought it would be better for everyone to love Magnifico, want to live in Rosas, and want to give him their wishes. That way, when Asha finds out about Magnifico's true evil nature and tries to tell people, nobody believes her, and that makes fighting against him much harder for her. This sequence was boarded by Fawn Veerasunthorn, and I hope you enjoy the scene.
Sabino, I can't believe you stole Manuel's wish.
Steal? Me? Don't be so dramatic. Valentino, do I steal? Oh, shut up. I just need you to hang it for me.
Hang it? Where? What is this?
What does it look like? It's a wishing tree.
What's a wishing tree?
It's kind of all in the name. You hang your wishes on it.
And invite Magnifico to find them? And then us?
No, to invite the stars to shine on them. How can the stars shine on them if they're locked away in some box?
So, these are all the wishes from the hamlet? I'm sorry, but this is too dangerous. We have to take them down.
But you long for danger, don't you, Asha?
What?
I long for danger, right or wrong, and I will never give up this fight.
You stole my journal too.
You need to stop accusing me of stealing.
Give that to me.
Show some respect. Ooh, I'm old.
Ugh, Sabino.
You know what surprised me upon reading it, besides your knack for swearing, is realizing this undying hope you carry in you.
Hope?
What do I do with these dreams, these wishes? Must it take the death of a man for me to live? I'm restless to see the light, for anything that will allow us to thrive.
Great. No one was ever supposed to read that. It's embarrassing and stupid.
And it's right. It is eating you up inside.
So, I'm young. I'll live.
But I am not. I've had a wish since I was a boy, and it doesn't matter how many times I've written it down and hung it on this tree. It doesn't stop the pain, knowing it'll never come true.
Sabino!
I'm okay. Give me a second. I just forgot to breathe there.
What can I do? You know I'd do anything for you.
You can stop Magnifico.
What? I wouldn't even know where to start.
No one should have to live and die without a chance to make their wishes come true. To the juicy parts.
Hey!
Valentino really loved the middle part.
Sabino!
In this scene, Asha, Star, and Valentino are on their way to Rosas when they are intercepted by the evil Queen Amaya and her royal guards. Now, in this version of the film, Star was a being made out of pure energy, and Star could take any shape or form as well as talk. So we thought it would be fun to have a chase scene where Star was changing into different animals to help Asha get away from Amaya and avoid being captured. If you look closely, you'll notice Star turning into a certain snowman. The scene was changed because we felt that while seeing Star change into different animals was fun, it was similar to other Disney characters we've seen. And we liked the idea of Asha and Star bonding with each other and communicating without Star talking. Also, the ability to change into anything made Star very powerful. We really wanted Asha to be our hero, and we wanted her to have to solve all her problems by herself without too much help from Star. This sequence was boarded by Lear Lev. Enjoy it.
We're almost at Rosas. Star will need to be very discreet.
Discreet? Got it. Sounds like another plan. I'm getting pretty good at this planning stuff.
You know what might help that plan? If you weren't so bright.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wait, you meant...
Shiny, glowing, way too much light. Turn it down, turn it down.
Oh. Better?
Much.
I had a feeling someone would pass through here.
Queen Amaya. Star, remember the thing I just told you not to do? I'm going to need you to do it. Now.
Let go!
Don't let them get away!
Whoa, look at me go! I had no idea horses could move this fast. I mean, their eyesight is trippy, but... yeah, that's better. Oh, I wonder if I could go even faster. Why would humans ever walk on two legs? This is so much easier. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Get up! Run!
Go.
Up we go. I got her! Valentino, get me to Asha!
Asha, I'm coming for you! I really thought these would be faster.
Careful! The cliff!
Oh, yes, I love that idea.
Wait, no, bad idea. Terrible idea.
For real horses, but not for me. They're gone.
This scene came fairly late in the movie. Asha and the teens are searching through Magnifico's dungeon in order to find Asha's mom and Sabino, who have been captured. Now, they don't find Asha's family, but they find one of their friends named Flazino. Flazino had been Magnifico's magical apprentice and is able to provide some clues about a way Magnifico might be defeated. Also, you see that Dahlia has been put in the dungeon, and she repeats some things Magnifico said to her that has revealed his true evil nature to her and changed her feelings about him. Now, the scene was changed because as the story shifted, Amaya went from being an evil queen to being a character who is a good person and doesn't support Magnifico's evil plans. Amaya became the character that knew information about Magnifico's powers and could give Asha and the teens some clues about how to defeat him. Also, Asha already had 7 friends, and we felt like adding one more was just too many. The sequence was boarded by Nicole Mitchell and Gervais Merriweather. Have a look, and I hope you enjoy it.
Look out. Oops. Oh, do we have to do everything together?
Can I just say I love you all very much? Oh, whose breath is that?
Gross, 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 gross.
Just put it on my face.
Watch it.
This is it, through here. A little mice advice, keep your ears open, don't linger, and be smart. Don't leave any droppings behind.
That's my hand. Move over, stop. What do you see?
Don't push it!
Over.
Don't push it! I knew it. I knew there was a cover-up.
Eva! Saba! Where are they? Did something else happen to them?
Flazino. It's Flazino. What did they do to him?
His wish has been destroyed. It's okay. We're here to help.
No, you can't be here. If Magnifico finds out, you'll end up like me. He's more powerful than we ever imagined.
But he doesn't have a star helping him.
A star? A real star. Thank you. My wish was to study magic. I looked up to Magnifico until I saw the truth of him. But with a star, you might have a chance to break his terrible hold on the wishes.
His magic can be broken?
Someone's coming!
Hurry! Hurry!
Wait, I know that sound.
Asha, what are you doing?
Asha! Dishin!
Dishin? She's okay.
What are you doing here?
He sent me here to care for the ungrateful like me. Said I don't deserve freedom after what we did.
I'm so sorry, Dishin.
He also said that because of my weaknesses, I'm a burden no one would miss, and I'd never be worthy of any wish. You were right about him, Asha. He's so cruel.
He underestimates you, and that's a good thing.
It is?
When you're underestimated, they don't see your power coming until after it's changed the world.
Oh, Asha, your mother and Saba were here, but Magnifico took them. I don't know where.
There's more people over here.
Everyone who is missing.
We have to free them.
Hey!
We'll come back.
Quick, run! It's her! Stop her! Hurry, hurry! Hey, she's here! I've got her! Hey, stop! You traitors!
This way.
Scene. In this scene, which came right before the climax of the movie, Magnifico is standing in front of the people of Rosas and demanding that Star be given to him. Magnifico wants Star so that he can become all-powerful. Now in this version, Magnifico had never seen Star and really had no idea what Star looked like. So Asha and the teens try to fool Magnifico by making him believe that Valentino is actually Star. While Asha distracts Magnifico, the real Star is up in Magnifico's observatory, trying to figure out a way to release everybody's wishes and defeat Magnifico. The scene was changed because we wanted Magnifico to be a more threatening villain. Instead of Magnifico asking the town to give him Star, we wanted him to capture Star with his own powerful magic. Also, we wanted both Magnifico and Asha to be very smart, and we felt that she would kind of know that Magnifico wouldn't fall for plans that's just silly. Lastly, we wanted Magnifico and Asha's final confrontation to be just the two of them alone and not have the rest of the town involved. So we moved the climax to a platform high above roses with just Magnifico and Asha facing off against each other. The sequence was boarded by Nicole Mitchell and Lior Lev, and I hope you enjoyed the scene.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asha. Having to pretend to care, having to snack at only my most desperate moments has been quite annoying. And waiting for you to hand over the star.
What's the deal?
It's making me unexpectedly hungry. But perhaps I'll start with your mother's wish.
Stop! Okay, I'll give you the star.
Is this a joke?
I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. No, there's no way I can do this.
People of Roses! Hello! I come from the sky. I am here for you.
Oh my goodness! It is the most beautiful star I've ever seen.
It's a miracle.
This is amazing.
What game is this?
Magnifico! If you want me, first you have to free everyone's wishes.
Magnifico doesn't believe that Valentino is a star.
That's just a goat!
To convince the crowd of his power, Valentino calls to the animals. And the animals answer.
It's over, Magnifico! You have no choice but to surrender!
I have no choice. We gotta do something.
You think I'm an idiot? I have the power. I have your wishes. I will have the star. So where is it?
I think it's working. Maybe. Almost. We're so close. We just need one more ingredient.
In celebration of Disney's 100th anniversary and to pay homage to Walt Disney Animation Studios' long-lasting legacy, the filmmakers and artists who created Wish filled the movie with unique references and nods to other Disney films created over the last century.
Wait, what?
While some of these you may have seen watching the movie the first time around,
Thanks for not eating me. Don't mention it, Bambi.
some of them are a little trickier to identify.
I've got a good feeling.
We're gonna reveal some of them over the next few minutes.
Are you ready?
Come on.
Good luck.
Welcome to Wish Declassified.
Now let's go set the stage.
Shall we?
If you took the time to count the number of wishes Magnifico collected in his tower, you would calculate 1,923.
Wow.
Why is that number significant?
I don't know.
The Walt Disney Company was founded in the year 1923.
Ooh.
A very subtle way to celebrate 100 years of Walt Disney Animation Studios.
It's magic.
Right?
It took a few years for Walt and his brother Roy to get the company going, but in 1928, a character was created who would change the course of the entire company.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
That's right, we're talking about Mickey Mouse.
It's me, I guess.
And there are Mickey references sprinkled throughout the entire film.
Is that so?
Not just hidden Mickeys, which you can find here and here. And in true Disney fashion, in the fireworks right here. But also in places you least expect.
Oh, look!
Like this backdrop, paying homage to one of the most popular characters Mickey's ever played. Do you recognize the star and moon patterns?
Oh, good find.
Take a look at Star's heart-shaped face mask.
You kind of look like...
Does it look familiar? You just have to keep your ears on and eyes open, because references to Mickey may appear anywhere in the film.
How fortunate.
While Mickey was the character who started it all, there was a Disney film released in 1937 that was the first of its kind and created a whole new world of cinema.
Which is...
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And there are no shortages of nods and references to the first feature-length animated film that started it all.
Everyone ready?
Let's start with Asha's friends, the 7 teens. If you take the first letter of their first names, they match up with another group of 7 characters from Snow White.
Hi!
Dahlia, Hal, Bazima, Safi, Gabo, Dario, and Simon.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Not only do their names sync, but so do their personalities.
That's true. And you wonder why I'm grumpy.
And even their clothing color patterns. While most of these references are bright and fun, like this turtle, who reminds us of this turtle in Snow White, others are downright villainous. Take a look around, and you may see some direct references to the Queen.
Some items might seem strange.
Like this. And there are also some Snow White references that foreshadow Magnifico's fate.
Mirrors, mirrors on the wall.
Do you recognize this guy? And if you look closely, you can get a quick glimpse of Magic Mirror's face here.
It was probably a curse.
That is not funny.
Just as the mirror foreshadows the fate of Magnifico, some nods from Cinderella foreshadow what is to become of Asha.
Stick!
Can you name the character from Cinderella who wears a cloak like this? I'll give you until the clock strikes midnight.
Oh! Don't tell us.
Oh, wait. If you said the fairy godmother, you're right.
Oh, thank goodness!
There are even little fairy godmother hints embedded within Asha's costume.
What?
If you look really close, you may see some pumpkin seeds sewn into her dress and anklet. I say that's bibbidi-bobbidi brilliant.
I have no response to that.
By the end of the film, the design of Asha's wand is a full-blown nod to the fairy godmother.
I don't care.
And going back to Magnifico for a moment, his name was created as an homage to Sleeping Beauty's dark fairy, Maleficent.
I was as surprised as you all.
And these thorns and dragon also pay tribute to the 1959 Disney classic. So do these shears and fabric.
Huh, likely story.
As we continue to declassify these nods to the legacy of Disney animation, it's just as important to not only look for them, but listen.
Okay.
Sometimes the writers sneak in some clever lines that may seem familiar to you, like this one from Frozen.
We love crazy!
Seems like Magnifico is certainly up on his Disney movie references as well.
The perfect nanny for your horrible children. Popping this one!
In this one, can you name what city Valentino is referring to?
I dream of a utopian metropolis where all mammals are equal. And wear clothes.
That is totally a Zootopia reference. And that brings us to more recent films, whose movies get honored as well, with references. Olaf would applaud you for seeing this one, if his arms weren't being used as drumsticks by that squirrel. You also may have seen these suits of armor in Arendelle, before they started moving in Magnifico's song. The sketch artist at the town square in Rosas may be the same guy who works in Rapunzel's kingdom. And deep in the forest, you can seek advice from a familiar old willow. And all the way from Colombia, these butterflies from Encanto are making a cameo.
Whoa, I can't stop staring.
I could say that's it, but if we declassify all the hidden references for you, it may take another 100 years. And that would spoil the fun for you to uncover these fun references thread throughout the fabric of Wish. What we showed you today was just the tip of the iceberg.
We did it!
So the next time you watch the movie, see if you can find some more hidden references and nods to other Disney films. Thanks for joining us. See you real soon.
Bye!